I ain't drunk. I'm just drinking.
But you're so high.
Oh man, you know I ain't high.
But you're so high.
Yeah, well I just take a little sip every now and then.
But you're so high.
You ought to be ashamed of
Stay
yourself.
drunk all
Oh,
the
come
time.
on now, you all don't feel like that.
Bam! Hey kids, welcome back. I want to go over a quick thing that a lot of new guys might want to know, and this is just how I do it. There's not necessarily a right or a wrong way to do this. But this is in regards to bullet ESCs and mounting them, okay? One of the things that I do, sometimes I use bullets, sometimes I don't. More often than not, I don't. We're just going to use this. This is a dud, actually. What is this thing? One shot. Yeah, this is just an old one. The first thing I do with these, if it's got heat shrink over it, usually what I will do is I'll cut that off. The reason I do that, it allows the prop wash to cool your ESCs. You're going to get longer life if they can get a little bit of airflow over them, okay? So that's the first thing I do. The second thing I do, let's see if we can, I'm using a different camera today. Let's see what happens. Probably looks like shit. That's all right. We're just going to pretend this is a new or a raw ESC, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and tin these up. And you want to get the hot stuff out of the way. You'll see why in a minute. Okay. No big deal. Bam. Now, we're going to assume that we just did the same thing with this end, which is your signal, ground, and hot. Just pretend they're there. I'm going to take them off. Just getting them away. The other thing a lot of new guys don't really know, and maybe experienced guys, you don't need the negative wire for the signal, okay? That is kind of a myth, all right? So everybody that's doing this stuff, yeah, this camera's sucking now. I'm not sure if I like it. Everybody that's putting those negative grounds on there, you usually don't have to mess around with those. So the next thing that I do is sometimes these have a heat shrink on them, sometimes, or I'm sorry, heat sink, and sometimes they don't. In this case, this one does. I will then, this is for my stuff, it's just how I do it. I'll take conformal coat, and I will go over any of the electronics that are exposed. Usually the ESCs I use don't have the heat sink on them. This one does, so I'll get a little bit on there. Okay, we'll do the back side as well. And probably take off that sticker. Maybe. There we go. Take off the stickers, kids. Conformal coat doesn't work so good. All right. There we go. Now, the reason I did it in this order is if you put the conformal coat on first, then do your tinning, the chances of it burning off are greater, okay? The next thing that I do is I will take my good old-fashioned Scotch 3M double-sided super tape, and I will cut a bit, man, okay? This one I'm just going to do on the back side. Yeah, we'll do it this way. That's fine. Okay, like that. Not a big deal. Actually, no. I'm not used to using the ones with heat sinks on them. Sorry about that, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-tin this top side. Not but a peanut. Hang on a sec. Okay, oops. There we go. Now, sorry, that one threw me off. Now, just for grins, and this is a dud ESC. This is just for example, obviously. Because I got that side hot, I'm going to reflash that up. Then, how I do these, we'll go ahead and tin up our motor wire. I do this one of two ways. Usually I will leave enough motor wire where it's about this long, and I will do a twist when I mount it. This one I don't think is long enough, but that's okay. The reason I do that is, one, you don't have to tie your wires down then. Number two, if you ever have to change that motor, it's not a big deal because you've got a little bit more wire length on there, okay? So it keeps out of the way. The other thing is I like to keep the ESC as close to the motor as I can because I've heard of a lot of guys having prop deflection where they'll crash and the prop will bend down and it will actually hit the ESC and fuck it up. If you move the ESC closer, as close as you can to the motor, you don't usually have that problem. I have never had that happen, and I crash like a son of a bitch. I don't know if I'm just lucky or what, but anyway, so how I do this then, let's see if we can get this in shot. Yeah, this camera's no good. All right, what I will do, heat through the top, okay? So we're gonna lay the wire on there. Yeah, this camera's crap over there. Hopefully you guys can see this. Not using this camera now. We're going to heat through the top, and we're going to do the center first. Okay? Use your wire to your advantage. Bend it in. Then I angle it over. I do this one. And I angle it over. And I do this one. Bam. Now, when you heat through the top of the wire, like I've said a lot of times before, when you heat through the top of the wire, you're not going to overheat your board. Okay, that is super, super important. So, and the chances of you melting off the conformal coat you just put on, pretty slim. Now, also remember, we've got 3 wires coming out of the back here. And this one has a little bit. Yeah, that'll work. So I just gave it a twist. And then I'm going to take my super duper double-sided tape. Now, the other thing I strongly recommend you do whenever you're using double-sided tape on a frame, clean the frame with rubbing alcohol or denatured alcohol. It makes a world of difference, okay? Now, that's that. So we already conformal coated this, but then what I do is I will cover, again, the solder joints I just did. If you land in wet grass or whatever else, bam, you're going to be fine. It's not going to short out. Now, for my builds, that's all I do. I don't electrical tape these down. I hate electrical tape on a bird. This is never coming off, trust me, especially if you clean that with denatured alcohol. But for those of you that like to use tape, this shit is awesome, okay? What this is, zoom back out. What this is non-adhesive silicone tape. I'll put a link to it in the description. This shit's awesome. Actually, what I use this for, because I don't like using zip strips either, this has no glue to it. But when you pull it and stretch it, it will, and put it to itself, it seals into itself. You can get it back off, but it's pretty hard to do. But the nice thing is it doesn't leave any residue on your equipment at all. And it's waterproof, and it's heat-proof, and it won't conduct juice. So if you are flying in wet environments, this shit's really, really good because you can, if you don't trust just conformal coating, you can start wrapping it here and then wrap it all the way around, you know, do a bardwell, wrap the whole thing up, and then, you know, press it and it will seal together, and it literally is waterproof. Pretty cool shit. So, but what I'm going to do, if people want to see, it's just enough to hold it on like that, okay? I would cut it. You're going to stretch this stuff a lot, okay? So cut it to length a little bit. Now, when you buy this stuff, it's not super cheap. I think it's like 15 bucks a roll. But when you buy this stuff, it comes with plastic on the back, and that's so it doesn't all adhere to itself, obviously. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it like this. Start on the bottom. We're going to line it up a little bit. You want to give it, and there is no glue on this, okay? You want to give it a good stretch. Oh, I let it go. That's okay. You get the gist. Bam! Look at that shit. Nice. Look at that. All right, look at that. So what you've got is a very nice, neat-looking band, if you will. It's almost like heat shrink. You don't need heat. You just stretch it across, and it conforms perfect. Now, it is cutting down your blood flow a little bit, or your airflow, okay? What I would do if it were me, I would probably cut this in half, and I would have just half of this width going around because you don't need a ton. The neat thing about this stuff is it's actually reasonably flexible too. So I use this instead of zip strips, and what I'll do is I'll cut a little sliver like this, okay? And then if I'm using an all-in-one ESC, I don't know if I have a bird you can even see it on. Yeah, not really. And I'll actually wrap it around like a rubber band and make it so it seals in the bottom. Look at how nice that seal is. It's really, really good. You do want this to be at least room temperature. The hotter the better. You might even want to take your blower. This isn't going to shrink it, but this is going to help it stick together. There we go. Because it's pretty cold out here right now. That shit's forever right there. But you can peel it back off. Or you can cut it really simple. It only sticks to itself. All right, very, very cool. I personally don't do this with ESCs, but a lot of people feel more confident in having their ESCs taped down. Don't use frickin' electrical tape. Use this stuff. It's great. It's clean. It doesn't get shit everywhere. You know, if you have electrical tape on something for a couple of months, it leaves that black, gooey shit on it. So that's that. So let's peel this off. And the longer this stuff sits to itself, see this? Look, bam. It's actually pretty hard to get off. There we go. And you can reuse it. Perfect. That's how I do them, though. I just keep them like that. I can pretty much dunk that in water, and it's going to be okay. It's conformal coated. It's got the twist there, keeps your wires nice and tight. And I usually also, you'll have the positive, negative, and signal coming off of the back. I will usually twist those around a little bit, give it a little bit of conformity going back into the power distribution board or flight controller. So, bam, there you go, kids. Let me know if you have any questions. Check out that tape. It's pretty good shit. Bam, keep shining side up. Bye.
Bam, JJ. Hope you like fishing. Bam, JJ. Hey, JJ. Hope you like fishing.